They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Destin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network, so there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We are continuing on with The Last of Us, episodes 6 and 7. I'll just give my quick general thoughts. Thought episode 6 was quite good, to be honest with you. Like, it reeled me back in. I was invested. We were back to a story. And then episode 7 happened, and I literally couldn't stand it, and I was ticked off the whole episode, and I was ticked off at the end of it as well. And, I'm really sorry to any fans who listen to this and are Last of Us fans. If you're hating my opinion, please don't write an Apple Podcast review based off just this one show. I'm not going to. We had that happen today. It's like, give me a break. But it's just my opinion. I'm just not a big fan of the show. Like, it has really, really high highs, but it just stays down in the valley way too long. I just don't understand a lot of the creative choices, the writing. I just don't understand why we're spending so much time on stuff I really just don't care about. We're not progressing fast enough. But we'll see how the finale goes. Maybe it reels me back in a little bit. But I like 6, didn't care for 7. What about you, Brian?
It'll reel you back in. But I'm almost right with you bar for bar. I wrote complete opposites here for me. I really like episode 6. I felt like we're finally progressing that main story. I actually feel like that this should have been episode 3, but then we get episode 7 and another side quest, albeit, yeah, it's a flashback, but I didn't need it. I instantly remembered feeling the same way about it the first time on my binge, and I rolled my eyes as soon as we flashed back. I was like, oh, yeah, the mall. Okay. But 1 out of 2 ain't bad, though. I mean, that'll get you in the Hall of Fame. What you think, Dustin?
Thought episode 6 was really good, and I thought episode 7 was really awful. Episode 6, I mean, you guys said it. It had me invested more than I have been. Like, I found myself like, okay, I actually do like this show after all. More than just appreciate how well it's made, I actually like it. Then episode 7 came, and it's answering questions that I wasn't asking, I didn't want answered, I don't care about. We know Ellie got bit. I don't need to see how it happened. I don't care that it happened because she was scissoring her friend in the mall. Who cares? And especially after the way that episode 6 let off, it's like I'm so invested and I'm so curious how that's going to play out. And then episode 7 comes and it's like, okay, they're going to show us. Oh wait, no, they're not. And then at the end of the episode, it's like, okay, they are going to show us. And it's like, no, they're not. So episode 7, if you're going to give us that side quest with Ellie and show us her history and everything, do it when she's introduced.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the wrong time for it.
I agree with that.
Sounds like we're on the same page with this one.
We're all in this together.
Like in episode 2 with Jakarta, go to Jakarta as soon as you hear it on the radio. As soon as you see Ellie and she's got a bite wound and she's immune, show this story. Like,
do it there.
You don't show this. You don't tell this story after what just happened in episode 6. We want to know what happens with episode 6 more.
And I mean,
Right.
I guess I get their mindset of she made it a big point in episode 6 to tell Joel everyone she's ever cared about she's lost or they've left her or whatever. And so now you want to try to build off of that and show us that the person that she was probably closest to, she lost her in a tragic event. But still, I don't care. Come on.
Yeah, you didn't show us all the other people she lost. You just happened to pick one.
And they spent way too much time playing Mortal Kombat and Dance Dance Revolution, and who cares?
God, yeah. I just don't understand the way they decided to tell the story. But let's jump into the scene by scene. The episode starts with Henry shooting himself in a quick recap. 3 months later, we see a man named Marlon who returns home from a hunt. Joel is in his home and holds him at gunpoint. Ellie comes downstairs even though Joel says not to. Joel asks where they're at. They're lost. We find out all the major cities like Cody and Wyoming are all full of infected. Marlon tells him to go east but never past the river. If Tommy is west of the river, he's a goner. Joel and Ellie leave, and she asks if he believes what they said. Joel pauses by the fence to catch his breath, and the two continue with their hike. They pick a spot to set up camp as they make it to the river. Ellie asks for a drink of liquor just to warm up. She asks Joel, then what, if the Fireflies get her blood and make a cure. Joel says, Joel plans on getting a farmhouse for himself with obedient, quiet sheep. He asks her where she's going to go. After being in the QZ, all she can see is up as she looks at the moon. She reveals she knew about Sam and her blood didn't help. Joel volunteers to do first and second watch while Ellie gets some sleep. Next morning, Joel awakes abruptly and is ticked she didn't wake him up and took watch on her own. He takes his rifle back and says, wake me up next time. The two make it to a bridge and cross the river. Ellie is practicing whistling and now asks to be taught how to hunt. She keeps tapping, wondering why it's called dressing and not undressing. They continue on and she asks, what if this is the river of death? And on cue, several folks surround them on horseback. Ellie is ordered 5 steps back and they bring a dog to inspect if they are infected. Joel is clean and now Ellie. The dog and her are playful. He tells him he's looking for his brother. Maria asks his name. Joel, he says. The cavalry is riding back to their safe zone and they're let in. Joel yells out Tommy's name and the two brothers reconnect, joke, and they hug. Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What'd you think?
All right, so first of all, I don't remember it saying it here at the start. I mean, and yeah, they pimped our recap as we got a recap on top of our recap. But 3 months have passed, actually, since the last episode, just for context. And I love Florence and Marlon here at the start. I guarantee that's going to be my old ass when I get to quote Ellie, 1,000. But Graham Greene Green Mile, but 1994's Mel Gibson's Maverick. Love that movie. And Dances with Wolves. Also awesome movies that Green just kills it in. But yeah, this is definitely me. You know, I'm literally in the process of moving into the woods to get away from everybody. So it's kind of funny how much this works in real life too for me. But there is 2 nitpicks here. Number 1, Pedro Pascal ripped that duct tape way too easily. Has anyone ever had to do that in real life? I mean, that was portrayed way too easily. Number 2, Ellie is like maybe max of 20 feet above him. And the fire and man whistled like she was like a mile away. I don't know. Good thing we aren't trying to attract anyone or anything. In the words of Napoleon Dynamite, idiot. But I did appreciate this opening here, and while it drug on a little too long for my liking, which seems to kind of be a theme for the show, but at least the campfire, I enjoyed seeing the two bond more. You know, it's also great to watch their Joel, I'll take both watches, boom, asleep. As the young folks say, he's me for real. And maybe someone can explain what Joel was shooting at before they crossed the bridge. I mean, you'd think he'd want to stay quiet as possible before the cross, but just alerted everybody instantly. Anyway, good opening to me. Like I mentioned in my open, we're finally progressing the actual main story here, and I love it.
Yeah, thank God we picked up where we left off in the last episode. Oh, wait, not really. We didn't. We flashed forward 3 months. And that's annoying to me. I would have liked to have seen the immediate aftermath of Henry and Sam's deaths and like how Joel and Ellie navigated that situation. But at least the people in the cabin and the interaction there, that was very entertaining. It was funny. Sucks they didn't find Tommy. If I had driven 2,300 miles with Ellie for nothing, I'd probably just end it right then and there. When they're sitting around the fire, how does Ellie know liquor warms you up? I'm not buying that line. She's way too young. Even if she has drank before, she's not going to know, oh, just to warm me up. Nah. Then you're telling me it's been 3 months and she's just now telling Joel about her trying to heal Sam by putting her blood on the wound or whatever. Nah. Solid tension when they run into the Wyoming Cowboys there. But it was very obvious that they knew his brother when Michonne asked what his name was, and it immediately cuts to them riding. I mean, we've seen it too often. No suspense there. What I don't get, though, is how they had extra horses for Joel and Ellie, unless I missed it. Like, they all were on horseback, and then they ride into town. Everybody's got their own horse. Okay. It's an okay open, I guess. It's on par for the show, at least.
That's a good point about the extra horses. I wonder if they just went back and got them some. I don't know. Ellie and Joel are wolfing down some food, and Maria says there's more. Ellie continues to be standoffish and annoying as Tommy and Maria explain the bodies left outside. Joel asks for a moment with family, and Tommy reveals Maria is family. They're married. Tommy and Maria take them on a tour of the community. Ellie cracks a sheep joke with Joel, and Maria continues with the tour. It's a communist community, they're told, as Ellie pets the horses. Maria takes Ellie as Joel and Tommy go talk privately. Tommy pours them a drink, and they toast to Joel, still giving a shit about him. Joel lies about Tess and Ellie. Joel asks where the Fireflies might be. They have a base at East Colorado University, and Tommy won't go to Colorado with them. Joel is very hostile about Maria not letting him on the radio, not continuing to message him. But Tommy reveals Maria is pregnant. He must be careful, and he's scared to death. Joel says, I guess we'll find out, and Tommy doesn't like that answer. Just because life stopped for you doesn't mean it did for me. Joel says he'll take some supplies and be out of their hair in the morning, and storms out the bar. Joel stops at a pole and must catch his breath again. Ellie gets out the shower and finds a note to go across the street, and she has a change of clothes. Ellie makes it to Maria's house and enters after knocking. Maria arrives and gives her a jacket. Maria now gives her a haircut, and they learn about each other and Joel. Ellie claps back that Tommy killed people as well. Maria knows there's a lot Ellie isn't telling her. The only ones who can betray us are the ones we trust. Maria tells her to get her jacket, and they're going to go to the movies. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
Yeah, a little fun fact to open this. The town of Canmore, Alberta was used to replicate Jackson. Actual local businesses were transformed. Buildings were constructed in the town, including that 60-foot tall log wall on that major street. Major businesses in the town actually signed agreements regarding the show's impact on their businesses, with the production paying between 1,000 and 1,500 Canadian dollars. I don't even know what they use, but it's a $1,000 in Canadian per day. Apparently the town doesn't actually show up until the second game, but Druckmann mentioned on the series podcast that the town was originally going to be featured in the first game, but was cut due to their limited budget. So that's why he put it in here. Also, it's a little bit ironic, and I don't know if ironic is the word, maybe poetic is a better word. But when I see that HBO static opening logo thing, what pops in my head first is the series True Blood, because I think that's one of, if not the first series that I ever binged in the early 2000s after growing up with episodic television. But one of the main characters on that show was Tara, played by Rutina Wesley, who plays Tommy's wife Maria here, as I find myself back on another HBO series. So a little poetic there. Here at the bar, when Tommy and Joel are having their awkward conversation and Joel is being a dick about finding out he's going to be an uncle, a song from the game's score, All Gone, by Gustavo Santaolalla, is used like right there in that episode as a little subtle reminder to the viewers of Sarah's death. And as if that wasn't enough, Joel seeing that girl outside and looked like his daughter from the back. Like I said, finally, I feel like we're getting to some good in this series that I do remember from that first watch.
Yeah, as much as she annoys me, Ellie did kind of crack me up when they were eating. That was good. That was funny. It's a really cool town and community, but maybe I'm scarred by The Walking Dead, but I fully expected everything to go sideways not long after Joel and Ellie showed up. I was just waiting for it. I know Joel was disappointed in what Tommy has turned into, and the dynamic between the two is very believable. Also very believable that, a woman could get inside Tommy's head, manipulate him, and just change his whole outlook on life. Big O when Maria spilled the beans about Joel's daughter. I was like, oh, that's not yours to tell. And wish it kind of came out more, played a bigger role than the conversation we see later, but it's fine. This is a slower set of scenes, but it was decent.
Yeah, I appreciated the Tommy and Joel reunion, though. I like that. We're at the movies now, and Ellie looks around cautiously. Tommy joins Joel, who gives him some new boots. Tommy apologizes for what he said earlier, and Joel asks if the ride to this university is a suicide trip. He reveals that Ellie is immune. Tommy takes a seat wanting to know what's happened from the beginning. He catches him up as we see Ellie walking around the commune. Joel reveals he's different. He's afraid. His health is declining. And fear gets so strong his heart feels like it's stopping. He has dreams that he can't remember, but when he wakes up, he knows he's lost something. Joel pleads for Tommy to take her to the university, and he can't even tell Maria. This is the last thing I'll ever ask of you, I swear. He agrees to take her at dawn. He tells Joel which room he's in and walks away. Joel makes it to the room, and she asks why he's still here. She reveals she heard the conversation. She snaps, asking if he cares about her. She brings up Sarah, and Joel gets very upset. Everyone I've cared for died or left me, except you, as she pushes him. Come dawn, we're going our separate ways, he tells her, and he leaves the room. Joel makes it to his room, reliving moments with his daughter, Sarah. Next morning, Tommy gets Ellie and heads to the stables. Joel is there and reveals he's giving her a choice, he or Tommy. She chooses Joel immediately, and he asks Tommy for directions. They share a hug, and he asks for his rifle. Adios, big brother, as Joel and Ellie leave the commune. And the next set of scenes are the ending. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, just a heads up, Dustin. I don't have a lot on this. But this talk between Joel and Tommy, I really did enjoy. You know, apparently Joel's mention of feeling as though he's lost something in his sleep was an ad lib, a contribution by Pedro Pascal. I also enjoyed the direction of Hismia Zbanek, showing the snowy streets as Joel told the story to Tommy. It was visually interesting while we were listening to it, listening to something we already knew. I feel like he left out so much when he was telling that story, too. I mean, like, why did he not just tell him about the fireflies and the cure and everything else? But whatever. Maybe he did, and they just didn't show it. And the last thing, like, Craig Mazin wanted Joel and Ellie's argument to be almost identical to the game's version, including the blocking, the set design, and due to its effectiveness and the impact that it had on him in the game. He considered it, you know, obviously the game's most famous scene. So my only critique is that it would have been better with Caitlin Dever playing Ellie. Sorry, not sorry. That's Abby, by the way. Abby, that's who needs to be Ellie. Anyway, go ahead.
Good stuff from Joel and Tommy when Tommy brought him the boots. I guess a good look into Joel and his feelings. I appreciated that. And big screw up by Joel to say that stuff where Ellie could hear. I knew she'd bring Sarah up as soon as the scene started. Tough stuff. Actually, really well done and great emotions from Ellie and cold-blooded stuff from Joel. I like that too. I love her no hesitation decision to go with Joel. I think that's very, very believable because like she just made a big deal about how she'd been left by everyone. So no hesitation. I think I like this show and their dynamic more than I thought. It was right here where I realized that maybe I do actually like this show. So I'm ready for the ending.
And here's the ending. Joel is teaching Ellie to shoot, and she takes no accountability for missing, saying the rifle sucks and the target's too small. Joel disproves her, getting a direct shot first try. The two ride off as Ellie asks if the whole country was ran like the place in Jackson. The two seem to be bonding more as days go by, and Joel teaches her about football now. The two make it to the university, and the place looks abandoned. Joel tells her about how college and that lifestyle now. Joel takes back being a sheep rancher and wants to be a singer now. They make it to a courtyard, and it's full of monkeys. The two get off the horse and enter a building, guns drawn. They hear noises and go check them out upstairs. Just the monkeys, though. Joel finds a map that points them to Salt Lake City. They hear raiders outside and see them walking around. They escape out the back door and head to the horse. A raider attacks Joel and the two scuffle. He snaps the raider's neck, but we see Joel took a nasty stab to the abdomen. The two get on the horse and escape before the other raiders can attack. Joel passes out and falls off the horse as they make it some distance away. Ellie begs him to open his eyes, saying she can't do this without him with tears in her eyes. Joel, please, she begs as the camera pans away. Brian, that's the ending. What'd you think?
Yeah, as he was teaching her to shoot those guns, I was thinking out loud to myself, hope this lesson goes better than last week's when he almost let her shoot her ass off with that pistol. Go listen to that episode for a little bit better context there. But when Joel and Ellie, initially arrive at the University of Eastern Colorado, the shooting location was actually at Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. Either way, there's a nice little action sequence here at the end. Just kind of wish it would have been against some of the infected. I kind of miss them here in this episode, but, something different than the game. Joel reveals he's stabbed after snapping the man's neck here in the game. Joel falls off a ledge into a piece of rebar while fighting a man. So, yeah, a little bit more realistic here in the show anyway, I guess. Good episode, in my opinion. Like I said, one of the best in the series so far, if not the.
there's an immediate change in dynamic between Joel and Ellie. Like they actually like each other, or they act like they like each other now. I like that a lot. I laughed when he said everyone loved contractors. This is the perfect time for revisionist history. She doesn't know that contractors are hated by everyone, so that was great. I had a bad feeling when they pulled up to the college. The whole time I just expected something bad to happen, and that's a good thing. Like they lured me into this sense of security while still making it feel eerie. And then real tension when the other group showed up. Buddy broke his Jose Canseco bat and stabbed Joel with it. It's a very tense situation. And he's down. What a way to end the episode. Started out slow, but I ended up liking it a good deal. I gave it an 8.5.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like this episode quite a bit.
I have one little bit of trivia here. Episode director Hazmia Zabanik attempted to play the game before watching YouTube videos instead, particularly of the sequences featured, here in this episode. She found players told her they wanted emotions and atmosphere in the show, which she sought to include, and did a good job, I think. Although you can't get much more emotional than the end of episode 1. Just
absolutely. Hey guys, any final thoughts on episode 6? We're jumping to episode 7.
Nope.
All right, Brian, you got the scene by scene. Go ahead when you're ready.
Yep, and just a heads up, I feel like that, and I may be wrong in this assumption, but I feel like that you guys probably have not a lot of notes, but there is a ton of scene by scene on this, just because you got to, just trying to be descriptive and tell what's going on. So bear with me a little bit on this. We open up in the basement of a ruined house in rural Colorado neighborhood, where Ellie desperately tries to stop Joel's bleeding from being stabbed. Joel deliriously tells her to leave him behind and go back to Jackson, and Ellie lovingly replies to shut the fuck up twice, which is what I would have been telling her half the series, but anyway. Ellie puts his jacket over him to keep him warm before heading to the top of the stairs to consider her options, and that's the last good we get of the episode. Sorry, my opinion. We flash back to the Fedra school with Ellie listening to All or None by Pearl Jam on her Walkman while running laps in the gym. Another trainee, Bethany, steals her headphones, what a bitch, and taunts her about Ellie's friend leaving. Ellie handles it accordingly and punches her in the face, giving her 15 stitches. We then see Ellie in Captain Kwong's office with a black eye, and he tells her rather than throw her into the hole, Kwong tells her she's smart enough to become a leader, but her attitude is shitty. He tells her that Fedra is the only thing preventing the people in the quarantine zone from falling into chaos, and Ellie could be part of keeping the peace. Ellie decides to give following the rules a try. How's that work out? The following night in her dorm, Ellie reads a Savage Starlight comic book while eyeing the empty bed across the room before going to sleep. Sometime in the night, a person climbs into Ellie's room through the window and tries to sneak up on her, who promptly wakes up and throws the intruder to the floor before grabbing her knife. She is surprised to discover the intruder is her former roommate and best friend Riley, who ran away from the Fedra school 3 weeks ago. Riley reveals she joined the Fireflies to Ellie's frustration and asks Ellie to come with her for the night. Ellie reluctantly agrees and follows Riley out the window.
Yeah, what a terrible situation for Joel. Stab wound in the gut and only Ellie to take care of you. What a nightmare. Pedro continues to cash the easiest check I've ever seen, like I mentioned last week. Lie down with wound and sends Ellie away. I need his luck with employment. Like, give me some of these jobs, man. Yes, show. This is what I want to see. Flashbacks of Ellie getting bullied and more origin story of her. This is exactly what I want. And I have to ask, what has Kwong seen in Ellie that screams leader? I haven't seen one sliver of leadership ability from her the past 6 episodes. Like, what are we looking at here? And what kind of logic is it that sneaking in someone's window and attacking in the middle of the night would be well received? Is my intelligence being tested by this show, or I don't know what's going on? What's weird about Ellie wanting some privacy while she changes clothes as well? Does this make sense to anyone? I love the camera shot of the girls climbing down the ladders and the lighting in the alleys. I thought that was very well done. I thought it was a very meh opening, in my opinion, and I'm not looking forward to an Ellie-heavy backstory episode, to be honest.
So I'm supposed to believe that Ellie either drugged Joel to this shed or lifted him up back onto the horse. Yeah, all right. And then it's a flashback episode. Come on, man. I don't want or need this. Last thing I just found myself not caring at all about this open.
Very fair.
Absolutely. All right, next set of scenes here. The two sneak through the streets, managing to avoid the patrols before entering an abandoned building. As they climb up, they come across the dead body of a civilian who appears to have committed suicide recently by combining alcohol and some sort of medication at the same time. The two steal the man's liquor, which they identify as coming from before outbreak day, and drink some as they reach the roof of the building. Ellie asks to hold Riley's gun, which she briefly allows, noting it was issued to her in her capacity as a Firefly. Riley explains she joined the Fireflies while Ellie was in the hole. A woman noticed her while she was sneaking around one night and invited her to join the group after Riley voiced her opinion that Fedra are fascist dickbags, quote unquote. Ellie suggests that the Fireflies' view on Fedra is too simplistic and that Fedra actually holds everything together. Riley refuses to argue and leads Ellie in jumping across rooftops. As they stop for a breather, they look at a newly powered block of apartments, which Riley explains was set up by Fedra for new residents of the QZ. The two argue again over Fedra's motives versus the Fireflies, with Ellie bringing up the Fireflies blowing up a storage depot and jeopardizing the QZ's supplies. Riley points out that their destination, the abandoned Liberty Gardens Mall, which was allegedly sealed off due to being full of infected, Riley points out that the mall is, in fact, no longer sealed off. The two head inside, where Riley explains the mall is connected to the same power grid that Fedra set up for the new apartments. She turns on the power in the mall, and Ellie marvels at the colorful storefronts. Riley reveals that it's just the two of them in the mall, and that she plans to show Ellie the, quote, 4 wonders of the mall. Don't fall for that, Ellie. That's how people get break. They find the escalators, which Ellie immediately plays on, prompting Riley to jokingly claim that there are now 5 wonders. As they walk through the mall, Ellie eyes the various storefronts, making note of which storefronts are looted based on the need for their product versus what gets left behind. They looked at the Victoria's Secret display and joke about how uncomfortable the items must be. Riley then shows Ellie the second wonder, a working carousel. The two climb on the plastic horses and enjoy the ride while drinking from the liquor bottle, stealing glances at each other as they do. The carousel breaks down. As Riley goes to try to fix it, Ellie asks if Riley really left in a bid to liberate the Boston QZ. And Riley claims Fireflies and the other QZs have freed everyone and run things like before the outbreak. Ellie points out that Riley could still do that if she stayed with Fedra, but Riley claims that she does not have the same future in Fedra that Ellie does. She reveals Quam gave her sewage detail as her assignment, which prompted her to run away and eventually join the Fireflies. Riley points to the photo booth, now prompting Ellie to ask if it's a time machine, and that's the end of this set of scenes. The next set of scenes is the ending.
The dead guy in the hall I thought was very spooky. Like, what are the odds that he would die and he'd be looking exactly down the hall at them? I just thought that was really creepy. I thought it was a nice jump scare as the body falls through the floor as well. And I cannot stress how little I care about whatever Ellie and Riley are about to do. Episode 7, we're doing an origin story on a character, honestly, that just annoys me to no end. I will compliment the showmakers. Their set pieces have all looked incredible. I love the mall set. I think they did a great job with that. Very good review talk here. Take on Me, the song's playing in the background. Absolute banger of a tune. Love that song. Another side note, walking up an escalator is super difficult. I've tried it before at the Tallahassee Mall because they're all broken all the time, and it's not easy, and I couldn't do it. And I'd rather have shoes and an outbreak over soap too. You know, they mentioned, robbing the Foot Locker and not the soap store. I'm good with being musty as long as I'm not having to travel barefooted. I thought it was another lackluster set of scenes, and I'm ready for this episode to be over with, and we got 30 more minutes to go, man. 30 more minutes.
Well, you're right, Nico, and talking about the sets, they used John Hammond's way of thinking. Spared no expense.
And again here, I just don't care about any of this. They find a dead body and some liquor, and the body falls through the floor. Okay, next. Then they go on their little field trip. I just don't care. It's well made. It gives a look at what Ellie is experiencing, her seeing some of the things that she saw and experienced for the first time. But my brothers and sisters in Christ, Joel has been stabbed. This is a waste of time. And all this is doing is pissing me off. And don't think I forgot about Ellie's reaction when she drank from Joel's flask. She was disgusted. And here she is drinking hooch on a carousel like a seasoned vet. I can't wait for the ending.
That's a good point.
Yeah, this episode was just so poorly timed and in the story. Yeah. It's like we're finally moving the story along with what we care about. Then bam, this. I just don't get it.
All right, guys. I probably should have split this up into two different scene by scenes because of how long it is, but I've got a feeling that the note taking part of it is going to be shorter. So I figured more on my part, less on y'all's. But here we go, the ending of The Last of Us, episode 7. Riley then takes Ellie to the third wonder, an old photo booth. The pair take several silly pictures together, but are disappointed to learn that the 20-year-old ink is faulty and leaves the photos mostly faded. Though, Ellie decides to keep the sheet anyway. Riley takes Ellie to the fourth wonder, Raha's Arcade, filled with working video game consoles, including Mortal Kombat 2, which both of them are fans of. The pair play several rounds of the game using endless supply of coins from a dispenser Riley broke into. Unbeknownst to them, the sound of the games and their playing draws the attention of a long-dormant infected in another part of the mall. After Ellie finally gets a fatality, Riley tries to take Ellie to the next wonder, but Ellie suggests it's time for her to head back to the dorm so she doesn't get in trouble, proposing that they pick up the next day. Riley protests by offering to give Ellie a gift. She takes Ellie into the food court, revealing their living quarters in the kitchen of a taco restaurant, and a copy of, no pun intended, Volume 2 that she gives to her. They share some terrible puns with each other. No, they're not. They're not terrible. They're great, actually. So they share some great puns with each other, only for Ellie to notice a shelf full of bombs. Ellie, knowing the Fireflies' bombs are used to kill Fedra soldiers, realizes Riley was actually stationed at the mall by the Fireflies rather than finding it herself. Riley protests that she would not let the Fireflies hurt Ellie, and Ellie incredulously asks if Riley really thinks that the Fireflies would listen to her and storms out. Riley chases her through the food court and reveals that she's leaving Boston. The Fireflies are sending her to the Atlanta QZ. She had tried to request recruiting Ellie so that they could go together, but Marlene, the woman who recruited her, turned her down. The night at the mall was meant to be one last chance to spend time together before she left. Ellie storms off but barely makes it to the maintenance corridors before changing her mind and heading back into the mall. She hears distant screaming and runs into a costume store, only to find the source of the screams were a Halloween display that Riley had activated, what was meant to be the fifth wonder. Are we going to get to the ninth wonder? Because, China was around back then. Anyway, Ellie retrieves the joke book from Riley and laments that Riley came back to give her a fun night only to leave her once again for a cause that she does not fully understand. Riley replies that Ellie does not know what it was like having a family, which Riley had, albeit briefly, and has long wished to have again. She invites Ellie to do one last activity and gives Ellie one of the store's latex masks. She then plugs Ellie's Walkman into the store speaker, and the two dance on the counter in their masks to Etta James' cover of I Got You, Babe. Ellie soon slows her dance and removes her mask as she stares at Riley, prompting Riley to remove her own mask. Chow, ba-chow. Ellie begs Riley to not leave and kisses her. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Their moment is interrupted, though, when the store is broken into by the infected. The pair make a run for it, trying to fight off the infected using Riley's gun and Ellie's switchblade. After a brutal fight, Ellie manages to stab it in the head. She is, at first, gleeful at having killed one, only to notice that Riley is staring at her arm. Looking down, she's horrified to discover that she was bitten. Riley tearfully raises her own hand to reveal that she, too, was also bitten. In the present, Ellie frantically storms through the house, tearing through drawers, trying to find something that will help Joel. In the past, Ellie lets her anger out on the store's display as Riley watches. After she gives up, Riley offers two options to move forward. Option 1, they use her gun and kill themselves, which Riley admits she doesn't like. Option 2, they wait out the infection and spend whatever time they have left together. Ellie asks Riley what option 3 is. Riley can only apologize as the two embrace. What do you guys think?
All right, here's the finale, guys. Here's my question. Fedra must have a limited source of energy creation, right? Since the infection has destroyed Western civilization for the most part, how are they detecting this huge usage of power from this old abandoned mall? Am I asking too deep of questions? Am I being too nitpicky? I feel like they would notice this. Mortal Kombat is a banger of a game, but why am I watching these two play right now? What's the point of this show again? The camera panning through the mall to this infected on the wall was very well done. I thought the camera work was very good. Ellie guessing off what the gift might be, more annoying dialogue. How do the show creators watch this back and think, yeah, this episode is a banger? I just don't get it. Terrible dad joke about the cannibal throwing up his hands. Maybe if I had played the game, I'd care more, but Riley going to Boston just does nothing for me. Ellie is a bitch, too. No surprise there. Riley is devastated, and she just walks off. Maybe she's frustrated or hurt, but she's just being selfish about it. That emotional scene, all for nothing, because now we're in knockoff Spirit Halloween dancing with mask on. I asked, what are we doing right now? And nothing will ruin an intimate session quite like an infected out of nowhere. Shout out to Randy Orton. Complimenting the makeup team, this infected does look very good. Got to give them that prop. Stab to the head, very nice, decent little action sequence. And I feel bad for Riley, the poor girl, seeing her bite wound. But Ellie conveniently finds a roll of yarn and needle. I'm glad we wasted almost an hour and accomplished nothing in this episode. Let me say this. If I liked Ellie in this show, this sewing up scene would have been very powerful, but honestly, it just did nothing for me.
So now we have a photo booth scene and a playing Mortal Kombat 2 scene. Get on with it. Finally, we get some action when we see the Shroom Head wake up. Although I'm not sure what took him so long to hear them. They weren't being quiet. So that was weird. But then we waste more time with the corny jokes. I mean, all this to show us what Ellie meant when she said that everyone she cares about leaves her. I understand it just fine when she told Joel. I don't need a whole episode about it. And then finally, 49 minutes into the episode, we get a threat. But this episode shouldn't have happened in the first place, so it's not enough to get me back on board. I don't need to see how or when Ellie got bit. That ship has sailed. We know she's immune. Takes the suspense out of it. And then finally, 51 minutes into the episode, we get back to what actually matters, Joel bleeding out. But not fully. We still have to have a flashback to Ellie in the mall with Riley. I really hate this episode. I can't even appreciate the things they did that were technically good because it irritated me so much. I gave it a 2, and that's being generous. This episode can go to heck.
All the way to heck.
Don't stop. Do not pass go.
You go to the lowest layer of Dante's Inferno. Shout out as above, so below.
There you go. There we go.
You guys got any trivia or fun facts you want to hear?
I don't.
Yeah, I've got one. You got any, Dustin?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, fun fact, and I'm glad Mike isn't on to make a little comment that's uncalled for and unwarranted. But in middle school, I used to go with my buddy and his brother up to the local arcade and play Mortal Kombat 2.
Stop the cap. That game wasn't out when you were in middle school. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Brian, I'm really sorry, man. Your show isn't living up to your expectations of what you remember. It's got really good moments, but, man, it just, I don't know.
It does get back on that main story. You'll like it a little bit better at the end.
I have high hopes for 8 and 9 just because of how good I thought 6 was. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Hopefully so, man. I don't know. I just don't understand the decision making writing this joint.
I don't understand the decision making picking this joint. I'm just kidding. I'm actually glad that you picked it because now I know. Like, this was on my list. I needed to watch this. So
back up to a 5 or so ranking for you maybe by the end.
I mean, if you're given several episodes, like 8.5, 8, just because it was well made.
Okay.
It's well made, and
we'll be all right.
And then, like I said, by that halfway point of 6, I was like, man, actually, I think I do like this. But then everything good they just did, they wrecked it with 7.
Wrecked it.
Y'all ready to do The Walking Dead season 3 anytime soon? I know y'all probably missing that
actually.
right now.
I'm actually. Let's go.
The governor. But we appreciate y'all tuning in. Next week, we will be concluding The Last of Us Season 1 with episodes 8 and 9. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Shout out to that guy who is mad at us for not loving Alien as much as him. We appreciate the review, man. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody.